Hi, welcome to the Leadership During Crisis Online Summit series. Thank you for taking your time to watch these episodes. Please remember to subscribe at our YouTube channel, follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook under Leadership During Crisis.
What's your focus? Is it inward or is it outward?
It was a fashion and accessory show by the biggest industry bodies, and I got an invite for that. And that's when I was like going weak on my knees and was wondering, what do I gonna wear? What am I going to look like? How am I going to present myself, etc., etc.
Why or what led to the crisis in your situation?
I have been through multiple crises and challenging times in life, but then the one that I'm going to share here is about my business crisis. So I was in corporate world for about 10 years before I got into entrepreneurship, and I am a first generation entrepreneur, and that was my first business on my own. So you can imagine the kind of excitement and the kind of exuberance you show whenever you start your first business. But then in that fit of excitement, in that space where you're coming from doing the best you can, you also tend to take a lot of wrong decisions. And that's exactly what happened to me. I was a first generation entrepreneur, didn't know the nitty-gritties of running a business pretty well. And that was the first time I was launching my company. And instead of focusing on the right things that give you revenues, just to give you an example, instead of focusing on our online platform, which needed to work, we focused on getting a swanky office. Like that, there were multiple levels of wrong decisions that were taken, not because we didn't want to take the right decisions, but primarily because we didn't know that that was wrong decision. And that's how I got into the crisis and eventually had to shut down the company. And while we shut down the company, we faced a huge amount of monetary loss. So that is the essence as well as the effect of the crisis, I would say.
So now, as a successful corporate individual, right? Like you said, you're so excited in creating that new business. So with this sudden failure from that perspective, how do you actually then get up? It can be a real dent in our confidence and our self-worth, right?
Yes, honestly, it was a big dent on my confidence. It was a big dent in my financial situation. It was a big dent in the relationships that I was in, because my family kept telling me that you shouldn't get into business. That's not your thing. And many more things. It actually led me to depression. And I was clinically treated for some time. I was taking counseling sessions from my counselors and all of that. So yes, it is a big dent, and that's normal. People out there who are listening, I must tell you this, that when you're going through entrepreneurial stress or challenges, that's normal. You're not alone. You're not sitting in your cocoon alone. There are so many like you who are going through the exact same situation. Trick lies in how quickly can you get up from this, and how can you really get up from this. So let me share what I did. So first things first, of course, while I was going through the depression treatment and I was talking to my counselor, and first thing she suggested is get a mentor. Get somebody who knows business well and who can listen to you, who can understand your point of view, and who can give you the pragmatic solution or pragmatic suggestions which can take you to the next level, right? Nobody takes bad decisions knowingly. Nobody wants to lose money knowingly. Nobody wants to go through depression knowingly. Keep it, in the sides. Don't talk about it. Just focus on what can solve your problem. So one way of doing it is hiring a coach or a mentor. So once I hired my first coach and started working with him, I realized that I need coaches for other areas of my life. And then I got into getting coached by multiple other people. Even today, I have many mentors and many coaches whom I learn from. That is one thing that you should do. You should find an anchor who can really turn you towards the direction which is most productive and efficient for you.
At that point in time, right? Because some people may not necessarily accept the thing that I'm a total failure. I don't want to go back into business. They may not be so positive to say, okay, I'll hire a coach, I'll hire a mentor. What would be your advice? How do you get to the right kind of mindset before you can even start to receive coaching and mentoring?
I would say for a person who's thinking I'm a total failure and I cannot go back to where I came from, don't go back to where you came from, but go somewhere, go some other direction. Even if you don't want to go back where you came from, see, you cannot go back to where you came from anyway. You have to move forward, right? But the point is, when you go forward, you have a choice whether you want to go forward for your growth or staying where you are, which will actually take you backward in your growth. It won't take you forward in your growth. So that's one thing. And secondly, I would say is there has to be a mindset change in the person where they're thinking from a solution mindset. Yes, there is a problem. I agree there is a problem. Instead of asking, why am I the one who's the victim of this particular problem, can we think of what can I do to come out of this problem and still grow myself? So the moment you change that shift in the mind, that instead of asking why me and getting into a victim zone, when you get into a survival zone, automatically you learn to take actions that takes you towards your forward growth.
So, what are your solutions while working at home during the lockdown period for COVID-19, and what are your preparations for what the opportunities may come later on?
So, okay, see, before the lockdown period, I was scheduled to speak in at least 3, 4 physical events as a speaker, and all of them got cancelled or postponed. There's no prizes for guessing why they got postponed or cancelled. But what I realized is that I need to stay afloat. I need to stay in the mind of our audiences and in the mind of our clients. So that's the most important thing. Now, when you don't have a physical appearance, what is the other way can you be available in their mind space? And to answer that, what I've done is I have started a video series. And this is small bite-sized videos which talks about different how-to situations, how to manage your small businesses in this crisis, how to manage employee engagement in this crisis, how to manage household chores along with work in this crisis, and so on and so forth. So that's one way of doing it. Second thing that I'm doing is I am creating an online course, which I'm creating as we speak. So it will be up and live probably in a month's time for anybody from all over the world to access it. Third thing that I'm doing is I'm appearing in a lot of online summits or digital summits or virtual summits as we call it. One happens to be with you, Janet. Thank you for calling me for that.
No problem.
So that's another thing that I am doing. And apart from that, I'm also appearing in a few podcasts. So these are some of the things that I have pivoted my business to, from physical appearances in events to online appearances in events, to keep my business afloat. I am learning a lot of new skills. So I am upskilling myself. Let's put it that way. Yesterday, I was there in a very exclusive video boot camp, which happened online, by the way, organized by Professional Speakers Association India. And about 50, 60 of us got together to learn about specific techniques to make videos better. Eventually, I believe that by the time we're out of this situation, I will be at a space where I don't have to look back. So sharpen your axe when you are in your downtime, so that when the time is out, you're ready for the big chop.
That's great. Now, I'm also speaking to a lot of the speakers and trainers, but a lot of them are pretty stuck in terms of like video editing, how to do a podcast, how to do an online course. Did you have any preparation or learning beforehand, before COVID-19? That's why it seems like you're moving ahead so fast.
No, I didn't have any learning. I was the last person to do videos. In fact, for almost 2 years, I've been procrastinating to do videos. I've not done it. And I always thought, how am I looking? How is the light on my face? Am I being useful? And am I looking in the camera, or I'm looking somewhere else, and so on and so forth? Am I making sense? Am I bringing out value, etc., etc., etc.? So there were so many questions that pulled me down. I've never done those videos before. But what I I did is that I quickly checked out with a few of my pro friends, asking them the questions that, okay, if I want to do this way, then what do I do? If I want to do that way, or how do I do? And quickly grabbed those tips and tricks. And I thought, okay, let me start. And that's how I started the first one. And now after doing about 10-15 video shots, I mean, I've not put them up yet, all of them yet online, but I've shot about 10-15 videos now. And after shooting them, now I have kind of got a hang of, okay, what works, what doesn't work, what lighting, what setting, what colors of dresses, etc., etc. So yes, I learned it fast, and I learned it only after the COVID situation came out. Regarding online course, again, I'm a rookie. I've never done online course. This is the first time I will be doing an online course. In fact, a few of us from the Professional Speakers Association India joined hands together to help each other create and launch our online courses. So what it did is it provided that cushioning that you miss generally when you're trying to do anything alone, thinking, okay, how am I going to go about it? So my suggestion would be, if you can form a group of people, they don't have to be your mentors. They could be your peers, right? Just form a group with your peers in whatever outcome that you want for yourself, whether you want to write a book, for example, right? And you have an accountability partner or a few friends who are in the same journey of writing books. Then the journey becomes much easier.
Great, great. Thanks for sharing. So you're saying that even if they are not from the speakers or trainers part of it, and suddenly their business, especially if you're looking at some of the F&B and entertainment outlets that has been totally closed down, is to find a support group and move on.
Yes, always find a support group. So you know what, when I was going through a bad time in my earlier entrepreneurship, I was losing complete sense of what I'm doing, and I was losing my mind completely, is when I started going for a lot of entrepreneurship events. And you know what realization I had during that time? The first realization that I had is, I am not alone who's in this mess. There are many others, and they might be able to give me some solution. And I don't have to do all the mistakes myself to learn from them. I can learn from others' mistakes as well. And that was a reassuring pat on my back, saying that, okay, yeah, fine, you're going through a challenge, but firstly, you're not alone. That means you're not the dumbest person on the earth. Secondly, is that you have somebody whom you can throw these challenges or throw this mindset of yours that is bothering you right now, because they are going through the similar thing and they might give you a solution on